everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Outside Line Podcast. The Outside Line Podcast. Outside Line Podcast.
Hang on to her, buddy. There's still three. He got him. He's
It just makes sense. It's too logical for them, for NASCAR, though.
Carson.
I'm glad you hear us, NASCAR. Make sure you keep listening. We'll see what happens. I'm going to take a breath here. That was a long rant.
Those cars are a lot tougher than an F1 car.
Yeah, that's what I like about IndyCar. You really need the spotter.
This is going to be fun. Let's talk about our bread and butter. Let's talk about the Cup Series for a little bit.
I'm about to become the most toxic human being right now.
Oh, here we go. This will be great. On Thursday, this past Thursday, it was announced that Noah Gragson would sit out Sonoma due to a concussion, or at least concussion-like symptoms from his massive wreck at Gateway, which, and I might have said something on Sunday or last week's episode about it, but I saw this one coming. And this one is just like, man, this stinks. Because it was a really heavy impact. Noah did the completely wrong thing by turning into the corner at 130 miles an hour and just slamming the outside wall with the left side and most of the rear of the car. So that is, the rear of the car is still a problem. But there will obviously be more changes to the car in the very near future. But there are new front end changes that are being implemented at Atlanta due to the Ryan Preece and Kyle Larson crash at Talladega, which is great to see. Not only because I'm a Larson fan, but this is also great to see because we can see this more at plate tracks, and that roll bar from the Larson car was still pretty sketchy because that roll bar was not where it was supposed to be when it started the day.
No, 100%. And I think that it's, my goodness, the issues that they've had with this car, it's hard to not sit here and feel like we've taken a step backwards as far as safety. And that's difficult because we took so many steps forwards over the years, that to take a step backwards, it's not good. And I think that's been evident in the fact that we've had these injuries and stuff like that. So it's good to see them trying to take steps forward and specifically not waiting on it and saying, hey, we need to implement this now. We're not going to wait until the end of the year. This needs to get implemented right now so that we can, better keep our drivers safe. And I think that's been the biggest issue. So, these sort of hits, we can't keep having injuries like this. This is not the NFL. This is not, the sort of deal where you need to sign two drivers and have a backup. Like, that's not how this works. Okay. This is supposed to be, drivers are supposed to be able to run all 36 races, without injury. And some of these issues need to go away fast and they need to be fixed fast. But like I said, great to see NASCAR acting on it quickly. That part is really good and to be able to implement it by Atlanta, but still want to see some of those rear end changes as well. That's obviously the problem point right now.
I wonder if those dirt track things that some drivers are wearing rather than the Hans device could be part of it too. Because when I noticed those in-car cams during crashes, their head moves around a lot. And I'm thinking, I don't think that's supposed to happen. I'm surprised nobody's really ever brought that up. Maybe it's not a problem. Maybe it's just me.
It's definitely a concern. We've seen in some of the hits, like specifically the Denny Hamlin hit when he got turned into the wall a couple weeks ago. The amount of just sheer force that gets thrown at him at a very high speed is concerning. And you saw how much he kind of moved around in the car. So I can definitely see your point there, Chris.
And I don't know if they've taken a step backwards or they've fallen down the steps and taken a leap and fell down the steps backwards, because it is past the point where it's ridiculous. Do you think that the drivers could potentially start boycotting races?
No, I don't think it'll ever get to that point. But I think
No.
that as long as they feel like there's progress being made, and we've seen multiple drivers who have made positive comments. Obviously, there's negative comments, but drivers have made positive comments about NASCAR's direction and their want to get something fixed and to get stuff done. And the drivers are more than willing to help out in that area. So more so, I think it's just rather than boycott, they want to help out. They're like, hey, let me help you in this area. Let me explain to you kind of how like they just want to help out. They want to make this better, and they want to make it a better show for everybody because they don't want to keep missing races. They don't want to have to keep earning waivers and that sort of thing. So, that part's important. You think about Alex Bowman had a very good season going last year and didn't get to finish it out because of a concussion. So, I think he finished out the last race, but didn't get to finish out the playoffs. And so that part was difficult, obviously, for him. So it's like that sort of thing can't happen. And you specifically don't want guys getting hurt in the playoffs when we go to some of the fastest tracks in the circuit, Las Vegas, Talladega, these very fast tracks that we go to that we could see these injuries at, they are all prevalent in the playoffs. So it needs to get handled as soon as possible, specifically before we get to the playoffs, because I swear to my desk here, okay, that if anybody gets injured in the playoffs and misses the next round because they got injured, I'm gonna flip this desk mid-episode. Okay, I'm just gonna put that out there.
I'm gonna hold you
I'm
to
surprised. Yeah, I'm surprised I didn't hear a swear there. It could make me work extra
I was
hard
holding
in
back
editing.
really hard so that I
Oh.
don't have to make Jacob like bleep anything out. But I'll be honest, it's a lot easier when I'm not ranting about Austin Dillon at this point.
I still think that was funny last week.
That was
great.
hilarious.
And I was sitting there this weekend because he had where did he finish? Austin Dillon finished.
He had a rough day,
wasn't
He finished 19th. Yeah. See.
Yeah.
So, he was top 15 and stuff like that. But yeah, 19th. And I did look it up, by the way. Speaking of last week, to piggyback off the rant, he did have the penalty. So there was that big penalty that put him back into 30th place, but he would still be about 23rd, 24th without the penalty. So just a bad year all around, especially when your teammate is kicking your rear end. I stand by my statements last week. Those are statements that I stand by. Put Austin Dillon in freaking Xfinity. Let him go win a few championships in Xfinity, but stop running in Cup.
I love
and
it.
Use the 3 sparingly because that's a sacred number.
Fair. Now,
Is it? I'm joking. I'm
Jeff
joking.
Gordon, 24 back there.
Uh-huh.
They have done the 24 well, though. I will say
Yes,
that.
they have. Yes, they have. So safety is still a concern with the next gen car. It's we're still a year and a half into this car, so it's going to be a concern for at least the next little bit. But we still keep seeing these headlines over and over and over. So there's going to be a point where it's just going to be too much. And I hope it doesn't get to that, but I'm thinking that it will eventually get to that. So let's move on to some more positive news. Let's get away from this negative crap. Let's just move on to some positive news and go to our winners over the weekend. Eric Almirola.
Yeah.
I'm a Larson guy, but that was awesome to see on Saturday evening. Eric Almirola with a great battle with Kyle Larson at the end of the Xfinity race. Got what was it, his third or fourth Xfinity win, his first on a road course. It might be the last time we see Eric Almirola win a race in NASCAR. So very cool to see, and great to see his family there at the track with him celebrate. That was actually a halfway decent race. And like I said, I was obviously hoping for Larson to win, but it saved me $75 because they would make the diecast of it. But it's fine. It's fine. But no, really good for Eric Almirola to get a win. His his first win in NASCAR in general in 2 years. So good for him. And then on Sunday, Mason.
Who won the Cup race?
I don't know. It's this guy. He's won a championship, I think. His initials are his initials are MTJ. I don't know. This guy Mason, he picked him. I don't know.
Did he win? Is this the guy that won the last time I picked him?
Maybe. I don't know. Let's roll the replay or something right here.
All right, I'm ready to go with my picks this week. My big pick this week, I'm not putting him in the dark horse section like I have in weeks past. Give me MTJ this weekend. I'm a big MTJ supporter. I like Martin Truex Jr. this weekend at Dover to break that winless streak. I think it's going to happen.
But
he's getting hot too.
MTJ has my back, and I appreciate it. And I just want to say, I was very clear on why I liked MTJ this weekend. He's good at Sonoma. He is. Showed up for me, had a butt kicking. And I'll tell you what, I've said it before. I didn't always love Martin Truex Jr. He has made me a big fan this year. I'll tell you that much. And to be fair, I picked him to win this week, and it was kind of just on a whim, but he has backed me up twice now. And despite the fact that he dominated yesterday, that was the most fun domination race I've ever watched, honestly, because I was just giddy because I was like, oh, Martin's got it. And to be fair, Kyle Busch was really, really good yesterday, but Martin had it figured out. Something about Sonoma for him. He's got Sonoma figured out. And I thank you, Martin Truex Jr. Thank you. From the bottom of my heart, thank you. Because I am 2 for 2 when I pick you. So if you want, right, we can make a deal. I'll start picking you. What tracks do you want to win at this year? We'll make a deal. We'll work it out. Message me on Twitter, right? And I'll pick him on those weeks, right? So like if where are we at this week or next week? We're going to be at Nashville. Do you want to win at Nashville? I'll pick you for Nashville. Just tell me. Let me know. Message me. Let's link, MTJ. Let's link. I appreciate you having my back. I'll have yours too. Okay.
You don't even have to pay him.
I'm doing this for free. This is
exactly
free labor for MTJ. I've got his back. He's got mine. This is a start of something wonderful. This is the start of something wonderful here.
Yes,
That's
MTJ
I'm picking for Nashville.
Oh boy. Okay.
No, I don't. Honestly, I want to keep it like at a good streak where like I continue to get it right every time I pick MTJ. So he's not going to be my pick every week. He's just going to be my pick when I feel it. And we'll see what happens. My question is, I'm gonna look this up right now. Did I pick him to make the playoffs this year? That's important. I think I did.
I didn't.
You didn't. I'm pretty sure I did. I'm pretty sure I said he would make the playoffs. But to be fair, my playoff predictions had Justin Haley in there, and
yeah. So did I. That's not going so well.
He will win a race. He will win a race. No, he won't.
Yeah, I said the same thing about Noah Gragson, and that's not going so hot.
I said something similar about Suarez too.
Yeah, we're
yesterday too.
We're 3 for 3 so far. Yeah, so Truex led 51 laps on the day yesterday, a dominating win for MTJ, his 4th at Sonoma. Second most to Jeff Gordon at Sonoma, who has 5 wins at the track. It wasn't as good as Coda was, if you take away the overtime restarts at Coda, but it was a decent race. I was pretty hard on it initially, but then I went back and watched the highlights. But it was a halfway decent race. But that was typical Sonoma, long green flag runs. I did enjoy the caution free stages once again. I thought that was cool. And there was actually some really good battles in the back away from the lead. So that was cool to see. But no, it was a interesting race yesterday to say the least.
Personally, it was okay for me. I mean, I actually, maybe I was on a little bit of a high from Le Mans, but I, I guess I was a little bit bored with it. It, I kind of just lost interest in the middle of the race. Then the last 10 laps, my interest actually came back. It was a fun finish, I'll say that much.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was a fine race. I definitely think that, I felt like there just wasn't enough areas to really get passes done, right? I feel like there was pretty same sort of thing kind of every single lap, right? Where it was, your passing zones are turn 7, turn 11, right? If you can't get it done there, you got to set them up. And if you get lucky enough to, when you come off a turn 11, right? If you get a good enough run, if you're able to get side by side, right? Then you stay by side for half a lap. And I think that's when we saw some good racing. We saw Hamlin and MTJ side by side for a good half a lap or so. And when those two were racing, it was really entertaining. That sort of cat and mouse game that you watch on a lot of these road courses, and seeing how that works specifically with turn 7, turn 11. I thought it was interesting. Jamie McMurray brought it up, sort of the having to set guys up heading into turn 7 and heading into turn 11, and how difficult that can be from a patience perspective. Because, if you, especially on those road courses, there's not always those opportunities. So you have to be very patient. And I think that that's a testament to certain guys yesterday and how MTJ raced and how Denny Hamlin raced. Because obviously there was that battle between Denny Hamlin and MTJ, but you could tell just in the length of the battle and the way they raced each other, there was a lot of patience between MTJ and between Denny Hamlin. So that part of it was very important there. And I want to make one more note about MTJ. I specifically said that Martin Truex Jr. would make the playoffs. I said he would at least get one more win before the playoffs arrive. He's gotten 2, and we're about halfway to the playoffs. So thank you, MTJ, for consistently making me right. I appreciate you.
Yeah, this race officially marks halfway through the season.
I will say this. Do you believe that using a different layout would maybe have made the race a little bit more exciting?
I don't think so. I prefer this layout over the old layout with the S's added in there. Yeah, I much more prefer this layout. I think it works a lot better for what NASCAR's trying to do. It's a little bit wider and stuff like that. So this layout, I think, works better. I just think that there's some tracks that specifically road courses that NASCAR is going to be better at than others, right? And I'm not saying that Sonoma's bad there. It's just that there's not a ton of passing zones. There's 2 main heavy braking passing zones versus a track like COTA that it's not built for NASCAR, but there's a little bit more passing zones. And I think that's the biggest difference is it's how much time can you make up in a corner or something like that. And Sonoma isn't as much of that. The cars are not, the skill is not as far apart at Sonoma than it would be at a track like COTA or than it would be at Road America.
I think part of that is COTA is a grade 1 FIA circuit too. So that might help a little bit with it. And it's weird seeing NASCAR on a grade 1 track because you don't really see that. Not that it's a bad thing, but either way, but it's just not something that you see really. It was a little bit weird at those old races at Montreal about 10 years ago. Speaking of that, have you heard of the news that there are rumors that Cup Series could go to Montreal?
Yes,
those rumors. Very interesting.
They've been increasing a lot recently, so hope to see Montreal in the Cup schedule next year. If not, 2025. So, like I said earlier, this race officially marks the halfway point of the season. Next week, or not next week, in 2 weeks. This coming week is the off week, the only off week we got for the Cup Series this year.
Really?
2 weeks. Yep. In 2 weeks, we got Nashville, fun track over in Tennessee. I would go if it wasn't so stupid hot there during this time of year, but thankfully it is a night race this coming year. I would rather save our picks for next week if you guys are okay with that, just so we would have more more details going into the race next week.
I
And
think that's better.
yeah, so
Yeah, and I'll forget it.
exactly. So
we'll forget it.
So we can save our picks for Nashville to next week's episode. But little one little thing that I've got before we really just wrap up is that Kamui Kobayashi will be racing for 2311 at the Indy Road Course in the number
that's
67
cool.
car.
That's
Yes.
really cool.
Yes, so that was announced Tuesday or Wednesday sometime last week. So Kamui Kobayashi will be making his Cup Series debut at the Indy Road Course later in August. My only thing is, why would you choose the Indy Road Course? Why not Watkins Glen?
No, that's fair.
Because the Indy Road Course sucks.
He is a very underrated driver. He was very underrated in F1.
Oh, yeah.
His dive bombs were something else. I can't believe that he lost his F1 seat. I'm still in disbelief about that. He should have stayed in F1. Honestly, because did y'all see him when he was in F1?
A little bit.
He was a lot like Daniel Ricciardo with him passing, if not better. And he was just generally exciting to watch.
Well, and he's going to be just the second driver from Japan to enter a Cup Series race. So that's a really cool stat as well.
That's a little surprising too.
It's very surprising. According to NASCAR.com, he will be the second driver to enter from Japan to enter a Cup race, but he's also going to be the first to do so in a Toyota. Hideo Fukuyama made 4 Cup starts between 2002 and 2003, and 3 other drivers from Japan, Akinori Ogata, Kenko Miura, and Shigeki Hattori, have competed in Xfinity and Craftsman Truck Series events. So there's been a few, but nowhere near the amount that you would think. So exciting that we're going to have add to the diversity in the Cup Series. That's always a good thing. That's always something that we're happy to see.
I'm impressed that you got those names right.
I watch a lot of anime, so I know that the last one, Shigeki Hattori, I that might be wrong. But I also did I have spent some time, obviously it's just Duolingo, so it's not that I am good at it or anything, but I have spent some time with learning like the Japanese language and stuff like that. I find Japanese culture to be very, very interesting. And just from a personal perspective, I find Japanese culture to be very interesting. It's one of the countries I hope I get to visit at some point very, very soon in my life.
Same.
Yeah, I agree. I find it very interesting too.
Having gone anyway, I want to go.
Yeah. So anyway, Kamui Kobayashi will race in his Cup Series debut at Indy for 2311 in the 67 car. That's going to be exciting. But like I said, I would much rather see him at Watkins Glen rather than the Indy Road Course, where there's not going to be as much chaos like we saw last year. Yeah.
We don't know if a curb is going to be coming up.
Jeez. I'm still mad just at both races about the Indy Road Course.
Hey.
But anyway.
In all fairness, though, if he just figures out a way to survive, he'll finish 20th.
Yeah.
Right? like if he just he can hang out in the back, right? On a restart, dude, just lay way off. Just back. Just honestly come to a stop at the start finish line and hang out for a minute. And then they're gonna wreck. They're gonna wreck. You're gonna be able to drive
let Joey Logano let Joey Logano wreck the whole field like he did last year.
There's a path for him to have a good finish at Indy Road Course. It's just a gravel path at that. Okay. So it's very treacherous, but like I said, it's going to be very exciting. And he said recently in the same article on NASCAR.com, he's very excited, very thankful for the opportunity. And he
he's hoping that it's going to create some more opportunities for other Japanese drivers to want to join the Cup Series and stuff like that. So those opportunities are going to be there if he can finish well, and that comes down to really surviving. Just survive. I think he can do it, but to Jacob's point, would have been very entertaining to see a driver of his caliber at Watkins Glen, one of my favorite road courses. So unfortunate he won't be making the start there, and he's making it at the hectic Indy road course. But obviously going to hope for the best, and I hope for a great run for that 67 team that finished 11th in the Daytona 500 last time we saw that car.
Yep. And
speaking – oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry. I was just going to say one real quick thing before we really wrap things up. There's been more and more rumors and speculation that for when the 2024 schedule is announced that the oval will be back for Indianapolis next year.
Please.
So there's an increasing chance that the Brickyard 400 will be back on the schedule next year.
As a very big Tony Stewart fan, get off the road course. Race on the oval, NASCAR. I know you listen to our show. You've shown it before, okay? It's literally in the intro. I know you listen, okay? Stop racing on the road course. Was that clear enough, or do I need to be more stern with NASCAR today?
Thank you for coming to our TED Talk.
Do
you guys have the message? No more Indy road course after 2023. They race on the oval, okay? We don't need this roval crap.
So what you're telling me is,
except for Charlotte,
you want to race on the road course?
I do not want to race on the road course. And to Jacob, to your point, freaking get rid of the roval. No more roval.
I like it.
I like the roval.
But Jesus, man, the Coke 600's been so solid for 2 years.
No, you're right. You're right.
They can race on 1.5 miles, and we went away from the 1.5 mile era. It is so sad. It's so sad. I don't love 1.5 miles from just a fact, stand back perspective, right? I don't love them, but oh God, these cars race good on them, and we have ran away from them in the past few years. And one of the we could put the roval somewhere else. Put the roval at Texas.
Texas. Yep, I was going to say
Texas,
that. Yep, and
put the roval at Texas. 2 dates at Charlotte. We're good.
I love the road courses. So
I'm not against the roval. I'm against the roval at a good freaking track. Is what I'm against. So go put it at Texas. That awful NASCAR track. Okay, go put it at Texas. Make them run the road course there. We'll enjoy Texas more than we do now. Okay, we won't hate Texas as much, and we'll get 2 fantastic Charlotte races. And mind you, if we do that, okay, you move the roval actually into the regular season, and you throw Watkins Glen in the playoffs. That's the move.
Is there a road course in the playoffs?
The roval is.
The roval.
That's why I'm saying you move the roval out of the playoffs so Texas doesn't have a playoff date, because that sounds awful, whether it's a roval or not. Okay. And then make Watkins Glen a roval or a playoff race. I like Watkins Glen in the first round the second round. I like Watkins Glen as put it on an actual road course. That'd be fun.
Let's talk about this. What road courses would you like to see NASCAR on?
Le Mans.
Long Beach.
No.
The streets of New York.
On Project Cars, by the way.
No. Just go back to Road America. Go back to Road America, and I'd be happy.
They should race it on Project Cars 2. They have a track, California Highway. They should race there.
Oh, that sounds terrible. It just plunge off a cliff.
Exactly. It would
I guess
be chaos.
That's one way to enforce track limits.
Yeah. If you don't want to, that is how we get the drivers to respect each other. Make them race each other down a mountain on a cliff where it's up to the point where it's like, hey man, you touch this guy, that's it. I guarantee you, they will learn to respect each other very quickly. Put them in a Squid Game situation, they will all respect each other so fast. I'm just kidding. It's just a joke. But
I think they do need to do something like maybe race at a track with gravel traps, track limits a major thing so they will respect each other?
Nah, just make them. You make them all sit in a room. You make every driver sit in a room, and you make them all share their most like. So they make them share their best memory and their worst memory. Team bonding, right? They'll get to know each other very well. They'll understand some of the hardness in their lives, and then they'll respect each other a little bit more. And then they'll stop right hook or left, hooking people into the wall. And then we'll have a side by side bouncing off each other, hot dog finish, as Daryl Waltrip would say. So can we just respect each other, man?
What are you, Bob Ross?
That would be too much to ask for.
Just be
nowadays.
I love the hard racing to the finish, where they're bouncing off each other and that sort of thing. And we don't get it anymore because, Joey's going to freaking plow William or something, or like there's always some crap that goes on in the final corner that takes that away. I just want one, man. Just give me one this year. That's all I ask for. Every time I think it's going to happen, freaking somebody's like, oh, I'm going to wreck you into turn 3.
All right.
Yeah, that's true. Another road course I would like to see back is them go international and go back to Japan. I think it would do well, actually.
Yeah. I think there's been some good talks from what I heard last week, there's been some good talks about some international races for NASCAR, and it's something they're talking about, which I think that's exciting. I think maybe you include 1 or 2 of those on the schedule would be very cool. So definitely a possibility that I wouldn't rule out.
It's a great way to grow the sport.
It is.
Exactly.
And
what countries would you put them in? I'd say Japan, Canada,
Mexico.
Yeah, Mexico, because they have that NASCAR Mexican series, or whatever they call it. Would you put one in Australia?
No.
You could do a double header with V8 supercars.
No.
Honestly, I'd love it if NASCAR went to Italy. That'd be great.
Race on Monza.
Yeah.
Oh, I can just imagine that. ARCA breaks into turn 1.
That'd be terrible. All right. After our little tangent about road courses, I think that's going to do it for us, gentlemen. Do we have any final thoughts about today?
I think I made all my points.
Yeah, I think you did too.
Yeah, final point. Send Austin Dillon back down to Xfinity.
I do want to say something though. Going back to Le Mans, we can just reorder this in editing. I would like to talk about Kamui Kobayashi's bad luck at Le Mans, getting in that crash in the middle of the night, and I think he would have won the race if it wasn't for that crash. Did y'all see the replay of that?
I think I did. I saw a replay of a few crashes, but I might have seen that one.
Well, it almost turned over a car, and it was because there was a slow zone, and everybody kind of slowed down. And one car, I don't know if he didn't see it or whatever, but he just plowed into the rear end. I think that's what it was.
Oh, I did see
it. Poor old Kamui Kobayashi was just kind of caught in the middle of it. And
that's just the story of his career, honestly.
Yeah. Hopefully he'll have better luck at the Indy road course. Another thing is the ex-F1 drivers there had a good showing. Of course, Antonio Giovinazzi, duh. And then,
like we said earlier, it's won more than Charles this year.
That's true. And then Brendan Hartley, too. Although he kind of Toyota didn't win, they still had a very good showing.
Yeah, and I got to watch a lot of the onboard camera for Jensen as well in that Garage 56 entry, and he looked really good out there too. Obviously, Garage 56 didn't place well, right? But they were very solid. Exactly. They finished. They ran 2,400 miles and they were really good when they before they had the issue where they had to go back behind the wall, and Jensen was really driving the wheels off the thing. So he made a lot of good quality passes, and it was good to see him do well during the 24 hours as well.
Yeah, and overall, I think a lot of the XF1 drivers really well. And speaking of IndyCar and Scott Dixon, where did he finish? I don't remember, but I think he was up there.
I thought he was.
But hey, maybe he can bring some of that momentum into Road America.
I don't know.
We'll see.
Only one way to find out. That's this coming Sunday.
What class did Dixon run?
I think he might have been LMP2. It's either LMP2
sure.
or GT.
Gentlemen, I think that'll do it for us. Do we have any final thoughts?
I think that's it for me.
I think I've put everything out there this week. I think I've
you want to make
my piece.
You want to make another statement about Austin Dillon?
Both the Dillon brothers should be racing in Xfinity.
God.
I'm not trying to bash him, and I am not saying that I am a better race car driver than him myself. Okay, before anybody tries to put those stupid comments out there, because it's not the case. I'm just saying he'd win championships racing in the Xfinity series, and if he's fine being mediocre in the Cup, that's fine by me. Go for it, dude. That's your choice. But there are championships to be won in the Xfinity series, man. And I'm just saying. That's all I'm saying. All I'm saying.
Ron Hornaday was remembered with his success in trucks.
Ron Hornaday, Matt Crafton, Justin Allgaier, Elliott Sadler. There are plenty of names that have been solid in those series, had successful careers. Austin Dillon should be on that list. RCR will not take that step forward that they want while he's still behind the wheel.
And Ron Hornaday did make the top 75 greatest drivers.
That's correct. That is
correct. And he wasn't very memorable in Cup.
No, or the Xfinity series.
Well, that's it. Yeah. Put the Dillon brothers in Xfinity. That's it. Mic drop. We're done.
That's it. Mic drop. All right, gentlemen, that'll do it for us for this awesome episode of the Outside Line Podcast. Once again, my name is Jacob Barker. I'm once again joined by Chris Shoemaker, Mason Wood. Guys, where can we find you on social media and on BSP?
I'm on CJ Outside Line on the Tweety, and be on the lookout for Christopher Shoemaker on Back Sports page. I am currently writing an article on NHL 24 and possibilities on who could be on the cover of NHL 24. So be on the lookout for that.
Heck yeah, folks, you guys can find me at Mace Hollywood on Twitter. And then just like Chris said, make sure to check me out on Back Sports page at Mason Wood. I have some good articles coming out this week. There will be a BSP roundtable article speaking about the Madden 24 cover. So similar to Chris's, we're going to be speaking about the recently revealed Madden 24 cover. I do have a part in that. So make sure that you guys check that out. And again, we appreciate you guys watching the Outside Line. Always a fantastic time with Chris and Jacob. I love being with these guys. It's always a good time. So love this podcast.
And you guys can find me on Instagram and Twitter at JWBarker24, and you can find me on BSP through the motorsports section of our page. Got a couple projects on the works, so you'll be able to see those next month, maybe 2 months or so. So be on the lookout for those. So once again, my name is Jacob Barker, joined by Chris Shoemaker and Mason Wood. Guys, thank you for joining me. And this has been the Outside Line Podcast. Hope you guys enjoyed. Catch you guys on the next episode.
Peace out.
Hey everyone, thanks for watching this most recent edition of the Outside Line Podcast. If you like what you heard, make sure to check us out on Spotify at The Outside Line. And if you liked Christopher, Jacob, and I's opinions, make sure to check us out on Back Sports page for more articles
and opinions about F1, NASCAR, and IndyCar. Thank you again for watching The Outside Line.